Look deep, deep into my eyes. You are witnessing a demonstration of the awesome power of the human mind. The unlimited potential of total concentration. My mind is totally focused, able to maintain absolute and utter control. A mind such as this is a powerful force. It could even rule the world.
Hey!
Huh?
Hey there everybody, PTPOP here, leading you out of the rabbit hole, one grain of truth at a time. I've got a great one for you today. It's call center supervisors from their perspective. The great one. I never thought of this. What is it really like to be a call center supervisor? Before we jump into today's really hot topic, I want to tell you about my books. I've got 3 books for sale on Amazon. Got copies of them right here. We got Press 1 for Murder, which is about a guy named Jeremy that works in a call center, and the cops think he's lost his mind and is killing his customers. We've got Small, about a guy that's hit his midlife crisis. He meets a gypsy prostitute that gets him to travel back in time to the age of 10. We got Breathe, John Lennon, a conspiracy to murder. Did John Lennon really die that day, or did he fake his death and go on to live an alternative lifestyle? Good questions. Check my books out if you want to support this channel. Another way you can support this channel, absolutely free. Just give me the thumbs up and subscribe and tell everybody about it. So I was thinking about looking for videos that I could talk to you guys about and talk about supervisors, because I'm always making fun of supervisors, but I I've never looked up videos of what their perspective of being a supervisor is. And this first video is a guy named Reggie Dawson. And he's got this video here where he's replying to somebody that wrote to him on his TikTok channel. He's replying to Jilly.Rose83, the things you hear are crazy in a call center. And never thought about this. I've heard some crazy things that people say when they call in over the phone. So let me start with Reggie and see what he's got to say about how the weird calls affect his employees. He's a supervisor in a call center, and I really like his videos. I like what he has to say. So here, let's hear what he has to say. Let me make sure I have the sound up all the way on him. All right.
This is something interesting that I don't actually think gets enough attention from call center employees. Hazard pay, which you call it different things. Hazard pay, there's leave of absences, paid leave of absences. A lot of times it could be considered workers' comp if you are, injured. Mental injury is real. It's a trauma. And this type of stuff that people say when they call into someplace it is crazy how, like, keyboard warriors online are one thing, but like when you're verbally speaking to someone and they say something like this, like, it fucks with you.
Now wait till you hear what this customer verbally said to somebody over the phones. It's horrifying. We
had one trigger warning.
Yeah, this is kind of scary and nasty, so if you're grossed out by nasty things, click away from this video.
We had one lady call in that seemingly silenced her offspring during the call. It did not happen that way, thank God. At least we don't think so. We actually never got closure, but that was like the way it was perceived.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having somebody call you in and say they're doing that to one of their offspring? How horrifying that would be, especially if you're not a 911 dispatch operator. Now, this guy works, I think he said he works in healthcare. Horrifying.
On the phone was that she silenced her child, her offspring. So there's crazy shit that you hear, and this is the thing that I think that a lot of places don't realize is when you have things like this happen to you, you should talk to people at your job and find out what resources are there for you. It sounds like you did. I think that's amazing that you did. If you tell your supervisor or your manager some shit like this went down.
So he's referring to this comment. He posted and pasted the comment in his video on TikTok up here. This is from Lily. She says, I had a right mind to request hazard pay for someone ranting on about how they were psycho and wanted to be baked alive. I'll laugh my ass off. Yeah, that is called criminal minds. But they also, I think this person also said they were going to do the same thing to one of their offspring.
Like some traumatic phone conversation you had that really, really deeply affects you. Like, this is some shit. Like, and their response is like, it happens. Call HR.
I don't know about calling HR. HR may help you. But I would imagine they need documentation. They have to pull the call. You'd have to have proof that you're mentally disturbed by this event. I just don't have any faith in HR. I know his intent is well meant, but I have no faith in HR.
Because there should be resources or counseling or something, like when you experience trauma as a contact center agent. So good on you. I'm glad you got something, because a lot of people don't even realize that that's an option.
Yeah, I agree with him. I mean, it can be very traumatizing. I mean, the job itself is traumatizing. But when you compound that with the crazy people that call in and say things, threaten you, it takes a heavy burden on your mental health and your well-being and your outlook on life, and even on your self-esteem. It can really weigh you down, and it's a heavy burden to carry, to walk into that every day and not know what each call is going to bring. So this is the same gentleman. This is that Reggie guy from TikTok. Call center life is thought to be... Call center life is tough, but here's how to stay low. I don't know what that means, but he says call center employee red flags. He's going to discuss several red flags here that he feels are red flags, indicating that a customer service representative that he oversees is not going to make it. They're not going to last long in the call center.
Flags that I never ignore as a call center supervisor. Employees pay attention, avoid these things. Number one is if there is an employee who is overly grateful for what I've done for them, which, by the way, I didn't really. Like, I don't do things really for my employees. Like, I'll update their schedule, I'll make sure their pay is correct, I'll coach them to make sure they hit their metrics, but if someone...
Look at all the bottle openers on his refrigerator. Those look like bottle openers.
Someone is like, oh, thank you so much, I really appreciate everything you do for me, you're such a great supervisor, you don't even know, you're the best... Like, if it is, like, so over the top every single time we meet, that's a red flag. And that tells me that there's probably something I should be looking for because you're feeling guilty.
I don't know where he comes up with that assessment. No offense, Mr. Reggie. But, like, in the comments over here, the Queen Marsland says, self-depreciation tends to be a red flag. Childhood abuse, neglect, and should be a telling sign that you as a supervisor need to handle your coachings in a different manner. This guy named Jim says, I don't agree with number one. They may be a trauma response. And I agree with that because sometimes, like, I've worked in places where I've had a good supervisor, or so I thought at first. I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. Thank you for so much for being so nice and stuff. It wasn't a sign that I couldn't hack it, but when you finally meet somebody you feel is looking out for you, has got your back covered, you feel grateful. You know, I grew up in a traumatic experience as a kid. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I never thought about that. I don't know where he comes up with this assessment.
The second one is those employees that are self-deprecating. Oh, I'm so terrible.
I'm sorry, he's talking about self-deprecation now.
Terrible, I suck, I'll never be good at this, and things like that. That is a huge red flag for multiple reasons, but the biggest reason that that's a red flag to me is because the lack of belief in yourself gives you an excuse not to work hard.
I don't know about that. I used to be like that when I first got into the call centers. I had, well, back then I had low self-esteem and low self-confidence. And it's a maturity thing. It's also when you're faced with a lot of circumstances where you fail and you don't ever live up to your expectations, you tend to beat yourself down. Or if you had parents that put you down a lot, or you had people or relatives or siblings that beat you up verbally and mentally, it could be that as well. It doesn't mean they're being lazy. It doesn't mean they're going to just think, well, I'm no good, I just not going to try. I think that's what he's saying here, that they're just not going to try hard because they think they're just no good.
I can't do this, I'll never get it, gives you an excuse to stop trying when it gets to a certain point. Big red flag.
So as a supervisor, what's this guy supposed to do then? If you hear that, he's automatically counting them out. He's automatically saying from these first two circumstances that you're going to count the employee out and just kind of wait for their time to either quit or get fired. It's kind of what he's implying, because they just can't hack it because they have too much emotional baggage. And I think as a supervisor, you should be sensitive to this stuff. If you're aware of what self-deprecation is and you're aware of the psychology behind it, you don't have to be a psychologist to know maybe you need to encourage those people and build them up a little bit more and say, hey, you can do this. You're great. I heard you on the phone, and I know you've got some self-doubt, but believe me, there's people that have come in here worse shaped than you that have come a long way and became team leads and supervisors, or just tell them things like that. I wouldn't count these people out. I think he's short-selling them, and that's half the problem in call centers is the supervisors really are not qualified to make emotional, mental, and behavioral judgments on their employees, but they do.
And my last red flag is the employees that kind of, I mean, in this I think is a known red flag for employees in every industry, and a lot of people avoid it, but working at home, it's hard to avoid. But like being withdrawn and slow to respond to your supervisor. I don't expect immediate responses from people. We're on phones, for Christ's sakes. But if it's been like 10, 15 minutes, you've taken 4 phone calls, you've been in an aux code, you've, I don't know, maybe gone to break even, and you've never even responded or looked at my message, that's a red flag to me, because while I'm all for letting you do what you need to do and kind of leaving you to do it, when I need something, I need something. If I need you to know something, I need you to know it. And avoiding me and kind of not looking at things and not responding is a big red flag, because it tells me that, yeah, you may be doing your work, but you're not attentive to the things that could help you do it better.
I don't agree with this at all. This guy's taking it personally. When I was on the phone and I got a message from a supervisor, my job, number one, is take care of the customer, and there's not time to breathe in between calls. And if you go into aux too many times, or go into not ready too many times, you're in there too long to type a message back, or, I know nowadays you can hit, read it, and it'll send a response saying that the message has been opened and read. But this gentleman's taking it personally. He's looking at it as insolence from his subordinate, and he's taking it in a weird way. He must have a lot of people that don't respond to his requests for, hey, if he messages them about having a one-on-one at his cubicle and they don't respond to it, maybe that person's going to wait till they're on break to respond, or lunch. Maybe they're afraid of him. Maybe they're intimidated by him. There could be any number of things that would hold an employee back from responding. I think these are knee-jerk reactions that he considers red flags for an employee that's not going to make it in the call center. The
things that are needed for the job. You kind of just want to go about your thing, do what you need to do, and collect a paycheck, and that's how that reads.
No, how does that read that? That doesn't read that. Where does he come up with that? I don't get that at all. They're just collecting a paycheck because they don't respond to your emails. Maybe your emails aren't that significant to them, or to their, the customer's top priority. So he must have a lot of people that blow him off. There's got to be a reason behind it. Maybe his employees don't like him. Maybe he's not a good supervisor, and they're like, shit, I don't want to respond to another message from this guy. I can't take it anymore. Maybe he messages them too much. Maybe he messages them with really ridiculous things that they're like, oh, another message. We don't know. But to assume that they're just blowing him off because they're insubordinate and they're just collecting a paycheck, that's a bit extreme. Now, this is a prime example of what you deal with in a call center. You've got people that were promoted to levels of supervisor that aren't meant to be there. He's acting like an armchair psychologist, sociologist, and doesn't have the right to do that. He's making vast and broad generalized judgments on his employees. Can you imagine what it's like to work for a guy like this?
Supervisor. I hope someone finds this helpful. I'm really hoping that some call center employees find it helpful and kind of avoid these things, because whether you're doing your job right or not doing your job right, these types of behaviors kind of raise eyebrows and make us as supervisors question why you're behaving this way.
Now he's painting another broad stroke amongst all supervisors. I don't think all supervisors see this as red flags. There's many supervisors that are empathetic to their employees' needs. I've had a couple. You know, I had a guy named Mike when I worked at SureGuard. It was a great supervisor. Was only there 6 months. And I don't talk about the good supervisors. He was a good guy, and he built me up. He took me aside, and he'd say, hey, you know, you're not getting all the sales you need to get, but you're improving. I love your voice. I love your tone. I love your energy on the phone. He did the whole hamburger method. He gave you the, you know, a good thing. He gave you the meat of his concern. He gave you the bun, the bottom bun, which was another positive thing. He wrapped it up in two positives. He put the negative in between two positives, so you came in feeling good. You got hit with the serious stuff. He left with something good. He was a great guy. He was positive. He was friendly. I don't know whatever happened to the guy. I quit to move back to Ohio one time years ago.
Like, it's over the years you get that intuition and it makes your spidey senses go up, and it's just like,
okay, enough of your spidey senses, dude.
Why are you so thankful when all I did was
Let's go to the next one. Let me find the next one here. Look at all the vodka bottles. He's got vodka bottles up there in bottle openers. So am I to assume this guy throws it back a few too many at night? Maybe I should. And we're looking at some of the comments here. I'm not going to go on with this guy. Let me go on. This isn't a call center supervisor, but this is a good guy who's being pestered by his supervisor. Let me get to his beginning.
Okay.
This is Paige Eugene. And supervisors are not your friends. And I agree completely. A lot of people go into jobs and they try to befriend the supervisor. And, you know, it's like trying to, in a way, in a small way, it's like trying to befriend the drill sergeant when you're in boot camp or the commandant of the prison camp you're in. It's just not going to happen.
Middle management, supervisors, upper leads, they are not your friend. I don't care how many times y'all talk every single day, every single week. I don't care how much interactions y'all do, how many coaching sessions y'all have. They are not your friend. And I'm learning that when I reach out them to as a resource, not as any type of leniency on my behalf. So I just logged in and I'm checking my emails and everything. I got a comment or like feedback from my manager about like a negative survey that I got, right? And one thing that was in the comment section that really stuck out to me was he said that there were opportunities to address the negative statements from the customer. Basically, the customer was calling in, cussing out the company, and I ain't saying nothing. I'm like, what am I supposed to say? It's not my company to defend. I don't have anything to say but to put myself on mute and let you have at it. The reason why you called into me today is for me to give you a resolution to your issue. Not to pamper you, not to coddle you, not to make you feel some kind of way, make you feel better, give you a lollipop and make it feel better because we grown. Girl, we grown. And I think it's quite insane that companies like limit customer service or just like service in general to like this baby pampering, treat them. We were literally told in training, like, treat these customers like babies. And I said, I will not be participating. I'm going to do what I can for them. I'm going to help them. I'm going to give them a resolution. Other than that, you are not getting sympathy out of me.
I agree with him. You know, I've had customers call in, especially when I worked at Verizon. Customers hated us because at the time I was there, we didn't have the iPhone yet. you could only use the iPhone on the AT&T network. Verizon didn't get the contract. They put a bid in for the contract with Apple, but they lost out to AT&T. And people would call in pissed because they couldn't get an iPhone and they were stuck with a contract with Verizon. And they would call in and cuss me up and down, back and forth. And, you know, what are you supposed to say? You know, I'm sorry you feel that way. I agree. I wish we had the iPhone. Unfortunately, we don't. Is there anything else I can help you out with? And you're not going to sit there and defend the company. I'm not going to sit there for, what was I making at the time, $12.50 an hour with the zippity bebop guy who was treating me like a white slave. No, I'm not going to sit there and sing praises to the megatropolis corporation that doesn't give a crap about me. I'm not going to do it.
I don't work in healthcare. I don't work in no super important place where people require empathy because they're going through changes in life that it's just that, you know, it's beyond their control. I work for a fucking tech support company.
Amen.
I work for because people are buying expensive devices and don't know how to fucking work them.
Oh yeah. I mean, people buy these iPhones and these computers and they don't know a computer from their butthole.
Your problem is the least of my worries of the day. And that's just no shit. I know we're here to do a job, but that's how I feel. If you want to call in and cuss out this company and rip them a new one and let them every which way but loose, I'm going to mute my phone and let you rip them every which way but loose. But more importantly, I think it's very wrong for me to be marked down or even to be marked at all or even called out because I had nothing to say when they were like going off on the company. I'm just like, are y'all paying me enough to defend y'all like that?
Well, I could, and maybe if you at least made an attempt to say after the customer's done ranting and said, hey, I'm very sorry you feel that way. I understand your frustrations. I can assure you my company does everything it can do in its power to give you a good product and a good service. I'm sorry it hasn't been that way for you. Is there anything else I can help you out with today? Maybe if you just addressed it like that, he would get the supervisor off his back. I don't know. Sometimes that stuff works. This is what it's like being a call center supervisor in an insurance company.
What it's like being a call center supervisor at an insurance company. The system isn't working, and the guideline says that I should reach out to IT. What should I do? Have you tried reaching out to IT? I'm out of PTO, but I really need a day off next week. What's going to happen? Well, if you don't have PTO, it will count as an occurrence. I know you sent out an invite for the meeting that has the date and time on it, and I got 2 reminders with the date and time on it, but what time does that meeting start? I'm gonna have you go look at that. Go look at that email again. I know this is the 6th time you rescheduled our coaching session, and I know it's in an hour, but I forgot to tell you that I'm actually leaving early today. Thank you for the notice. Thank you.
I didn't realize I had recorded so much of this woman. This is another one. Like, girl, you know what's going on.
Here's a real conversation that I've had with one of my consultants. Hey, so I noticed that last week you had 80 disconnected calls. Do you know what happened with that? Were you having any system issues? No, I have no idea. I don't know what happened. Got it. So I reviewed
80 disconnected calls. That's like all your calls you get in one day. And if she's working from home, that's kind of weird.
half.
So the comments over here are kind of funny. They're hanging up on customers. One person says, the customer is abusing your employee. Why don't you stick up for your employee? I know where they come up with that. It seems like call abandonment. People just don't want to take calls. Why are you asking if you already know the answer? And Bree, who was this woman here, says, because I want to know why. Is she having problems at home? Connection issues? Is she struggling with the job? Which is a good idea, a good approach to take, because you don't know if they're abandoning it or if they've got connection issues, because some people live in rural areas where the internet connection drops all the time. You just never know.
Of the calls, and all of them were hanging up on customers. They weren't at the end of the call. So again, do you know what happened on these calls or why we were disconnecting so many calls in the middle of the customer talking? No. I have no idea. Okay, so obviously this has to stop right away. If this happens again, we will definitely have to review for next steps. So in the meantime, just please make sure that we are not hanging up on customers.
That's a funny one, and I have hung up on a few people, but nothing that would raise the eyebrows of the supervisors. There's a few people that were just like going on and on and on, screaming at me, and they wouldn't stop screaming. I hung up on them or things like that. I think a couple times I hung up on people because I just couldn't. There's some people that call you just have no idea what they're saying, and you sit there and say, "Sir, I'm so sorry. I absolutely don't understand what you're talking about." And they're like, I had too many scotches, I've been drunk and smoking dope. So let's see what this next one is here. And I'm going through some of the comments. A lot of these people are silly. They're like, I need to work a job again. How do I get a job? I'm not going to bore you with that. This is funny. This is a little bit of comedy here. So I can cue it up tight. When people ask me how it is
worth
being a
it?
supervisor.
Oh yeah, it's worth it. If you're strong enough.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
So this is Party Poison 723. I really hated this job.
To come get you for the emergency meeting that was just called.
So this is a supervisor that's just been called into an emergency meeting. As I've told you many times before, when you're in a call center, for some reason, your supervisors and team leads are always in meetings all day long. They very rarely are at their desk, and they very rarely are there to help you with escalated calls.
What emergency
This might be why.
meeting? Are the operation managers serious? Like, they want us to coach all of our 30 agents once a week, but then they keep pulling us away from our stations. I have like 3 coaches scheduled in the next hour, and I have 2 reports that I have to submit before lunch. I know, I get it, but we're all waiting on you. Fine. Team, I'll be back soon, I hope. If you have any questions, our team lead is, sitting right here, so I'll be back. Better be fucking important. Hi everyone, thanks for finally joining us. I know you guys are very busy. Sure you fucking do. So we just wanted to go over some concerns. We want to make sure that when the agents have questions on their calls, that we're not just giving them the answer, but giving them the tools that they need to put in their toolbox, that they know how to find
The tools for their toolbox. Oh my God, how many times have I heard that in training?
answer themselves. So we've come up with a little project to get our point across. So in front of you should all be a piece of paper and a pen, and I need you to write down how to make an ice cream sandwich. This was the fucking emergency. All right, do we have everyone's? Okay, all right. Claudia, we'll start with yours. Let's see. Lay 2 cookies down. Okay. How do I how do I get the cookies? I mean,
How do I get the cookie bag
it
open?
doesn't say to open it, right? I don't know. Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, I suppose. Let's just do it as if it was instructed, right? Okay. Next step says, scoop ice cream from the ice cream container and put between cookies. Okay, well, it doesn't mention anything about a scoop, so I guess I just gotta scoop it with my hand. It's cold. See, the instructions aren't very clear, are they?
And they do this all the time in call centers, and they have you do these little reenactments and little things, and if you leave one step out, like not putting the scoop in, they call you out on the floor and embarrass you and humiliate you in front of all of your teammates.
I have so much shit I need to do. Are we almost done here? I see what I'm saying, right? You see? All right, so we're going to go through each and every one of you, 20 supervisors, one.
Okay, this is Oddball Arts LLC. And I think this is a real call. Let me see. She is very similar to what you'll see in a call center with some of the eccentric dress and makeup.
The wildest.
I don't think this is a visual digital mask. I think it's real makeup.
Escalation call that I wasn't expecting to have to take today, and I need to share it. So first things first, this guy calls, and I thought it was just a regular call, and immediately, as soon as I answer the phone, off the rails. As soon as he answers, he's going off about how he's a lawyer, and he's going to file a RICO case for racketeering and for false advertising and all this stuff. And when you take an escalation and you go through escalation training, the first thing they tell you is to just let them talk for a second, because sometimes that'll get them to calm down if they can just rant. So I just sat there for probably 12 minutes and just listened to this guy go on and on about how he was going to contact a lawyer, or he was a lawyer. I'm not really sure anymore. And just going off.
So for those of you that do this and you threaten a corporation, a big company, or any company with legal action, let me tell you a little bit about corporations. Number one, if you're going to file such a lawsuit, you better have a nice-sized bank account, because to get a corporate attorney to take your case, you're going to have to pay a serious, legitimate corporate attorney at least $500 an hour. Okay. And the corporation, if the claim is considered legitimate and it gets through the attorney and it gets to the corporation through the legal process and the corporation receives it, most of these big companies have an entire army of attorneys that know how to drip you dry and bleed you of all your money. So what they'll do is they'll drag out any legal actions against them in court to the point where you can't fight it anymore because you're all out of funds. I'm telling you, fighting a company and filing suit against them is much harder than you would imagine. Unless you have an airtight case, you have to have everything documented. You have to have some attorney go, you know what, you got a case here. I'm going to take this, because the company that you hire, the firm you hire, is going to want to believe that they've got a way to win, because attorneys aren't going to take a case that they can't win, or it's not really seen justifiable.
As he's doing this, I got some pieces of his contact information, was able to find a case. He's called like 10 times. Just today. So finally, when there's a break, and he's called all of my coworkers a million names at this point. So I was like, hey, what can I do to help you today? It sounds like you have an issue with something. What can I do? He then, again, goes into calling all of them names, saying all the things, and I was like, look, here's the deal. And I shit you not when I said this, because when I pull out the supervisor card, they can't fight with me. I said, hey, okay, I'm going to need you to stop talking. I need you to take a breath, and I need you to listen to me for just a second here. I am hearing you call all of my coworkers and my employees a bunch of names. That is inappropriate.
And it says at the top, says, when I'm a supervisor, we say they are our employees. It feels icky. Laugh my ass off.
Uncalled for. So if you want to continue to call people names, here are the two choices you have. Either you can watch your mouth and stop making fun of people that you don't even know, or you can listen to the dead air when I hang up this call. Those are your choices. Make it now. And he was like, okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been rude. And I'm like, you damn straight you shouldn't have been rude. He then calmed down a little bit once I said that. Basically what it came down to was a $40 fucking item that he is name-calling everyone that works in my building and, like, threatening legal action over.
A $40 item, no law firm in the world is going to take that on. It's throwing your attorney's name around, and that the governor, and a senator is not going to help you one bit. These men and women that work in law and in the courts and in politics are not going to help you over a tiny issue like this that could have been resolved.
A $40 item! Now he's claiming that none of us had told him that his item was covered under a 2-year warranty, which is bullshit because it was tagged on the case, so I know that it was. He just didn't want to listen. And so I said, listen, I will send you the email with all the information. You can send it to warranty and it can get fixed for you for free, even though you don't deserve it at this point because you've been super rude. But I am happy to send it to you. And I apologize that you feel like you were given the runaround, but we are salted today. Are we good now? And he said yes. I hope that every step this man takes today, there is a Lego in his shoe. I hope that every time he takes a sip from his coffee, it is cold. I hope that when he walks up the steps, he like slightly misses that step and has that weird stumble. He doesn't get hurt, but it's annoying. I hope
Yes.
that happens. I
Yes.
hope that his colic in his hair will not lay down for the next 3 years. Get fucked. Don't be mean to my coworkers.
Amen. I mean, customers can be real pricks, and it's really crazy. So I don't know if any of you out there in my audience have ever been a supervisor. But if so, let me know in the comments or send me a direct message at skatingbearstudios@gmail.com and let me know what your story is. Just stop by and say hi. And leave the comments in the bottom, like and subscribe. Tell your friends about my channel if you have other call center inmates that are dying to escape. Thank you all for watching, and thank you all for all of your kind words and your support of this channel. And with that, I bid you adieu.
Hasta la vista. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Caballeros de la vida. You get out of here.
Is that all there is? Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friend.
Take it easy, baby cakes.